Hello guys, oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining me today. This craft is just going to be so darling. You guys will not be disappointed. It's going to be so stinking cute and super easy. Don't we love that? So let's get started. Let's go over the kit real quick. This is the kit that you have received. You'll get the wood base with all the wire, the floral petals, and the little leaves. You also get some white paint and some black paint. You also get a paintbrush and a little dowel rod to wrap your little wire bits around to make it a little extra cute. And you will also receive a little bit of some wax. So I'm going to show you how to use that. So just a little bit of wax to add that extra little cuteness of Farmhouse. It's going to be so stinking cute. You guys are going to love it. And you're also receiving, I don't have it in the photo, but you will also receive a little bit of sandpaper. Oh, and there's little buttons there too. So can't forget those. Very, very cute. So a couple of extra things you are definitely going to need for this craft that I did not supply you is a sharp pair of scissors. The smaller the better, but if you only have the larger, that'll be okay too, but the smaller the better. Some wire cutters, some needle nose pliers, and a glue gun. You don't have to use a glue gun. If you want to use just some regular glue, you're more than welcome to do that as well. A little bit of paste or just a little bit of quick dry glue would be fine. I don't recommend super glue. That can get a little messy with what we're doing, but definitely you could use hot glue, regular paste glue, or just even regular Elmer's glue would work just fine. So. And if you don't even mind that, you could do maybe some double-sided tape. So you're more than welcome to put the leaves on any way you wish. So let's get started here real quick. Hi guys, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. I wanted to show you real quick the little bit of sandpaper you will be getting as well. So, and this is your wax that we're going to use. And oh, these are wire cutters, just for the folks that were confused by the photo. This is some needle nose wire cutters, but any wire cutters you have will work just fine. This stuff is not particularly strong, so maybe even a hefty pair of field scissors or something, garden scissors, would even probably cut through this. So you don't need a heavy duty pair of wire cutters, but you definitely need some wire cutters. You'll need a little bit of needle nose pliers, which is what these are. If you have really, really strong fingertips, then maybe you wouldn't need these, but these are definitely going to help you. So you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on these. I think you can get them for $1 at the dollar store, but you will need these if you don't have really strong fingertips. And like I said, if you need some scissors, you can use this. But if you have some needle nose scissors, those would work even better, because what we're cutting is going to be very, very tiny. So if you have some scissors like this, all my sewing folks out there, you probably already have these in your repertoire. So, all right, so let's get started. So this is your base, and it already has its little tin roof. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. So stinking cute. All right, so what you want to do is go ahead, and this is your paint pots. You'll notice you'll have 3 whites and 1 gray. So what you want to do is go ahead and open up your gray, and here is a very good opportunity to use your needle nose pliers, because these are kind of tricky to open. So if you want to grab one end and then go ahead and open up the other side, just pop it open, just like that. And then what you want to do is take your paintbrush, and what you want to do is anywhere you want a little bit of distressing on your piece is where you want to put the gray paint. So I'm going to put the gray paint kind of along the edges and all through here. So like right along the edge and right along the edge here, and you'll see. So, but you guys make it your own. I just want to be clear, there is no right or wrong on this. It's however you guys want to make it. So if you wanted to do a different color and you have paint, go for it. You do not have to use the black or the gray or the white. So you guys to make it your own. But I would recommend doing the gray or a darker color first, because then when we sand it back, we'll be able to see the dark coming through, if that makes sense. So what you want to do is just stick your brush down in the paint, just like that. And the dark paint does not have to be heavy. You just want to put it where you want the distressing. So a light coat is best. So what I'm going to do, and does not have to be pretty, because we're going to cover this up with the white paint or the light color. So what you want to do is just go over wherever you want a little bit of distressing. And if you don't like the distressing, that's okay too. You can just do just white paint or just a different color if you would. So I'm just going to put all of my gray around the edges, kind of up in here a little bit too. Just like that. And again, you don't need it to be heavy. You just want it to be a light coat, just enough to put a little bit of color down. And it doesn't have to be even all the way around either. If you want a little bit here and a little bit there, that's perfectly fine too. Matter of fact, the more random, the better. So, and if you get a little bit on your tin roof, you just wipe that right off. So I'm just going to quickly go over my edges where I want the darker paint to shine through. And it's not all, we're not going to sand this all back, just on the edges. But you guys do however you want. So I'm just going to go along the edges and maybe a little bit in the middle. And again, it does not have to be fancy. Let it go and just go to town. Because again, we're going to be covering a lot of this back up. Just like that. And then we're going to let this dry. You guys, if you want to do the back side, the top side, go ahead. So we're going to go ahead and just do the edges on the top side. Can you guys see that? Just along the sides here. Does not have to be even at all. But make sure you don't have any runs, drips, or globs. You want it to be a very light, dry coat. Almost like you're dry brushing it. No water. You guys don't need any water with this. Just throw the paint on. Just want it to be a really thin, dry coat. And don't forget the edges. And then if you guys want to go ahead and do the back side, you absolutely can. I'm just going to put a little bit here and there. Just like that. Something about painting that's very meditative. Kind of go into a zone. And again, see how haphazardly my paint strokes are? Not pretty at all. Just marking the wood. So when I sand back those little spots, there'll be a little bit of a darkness there. As if this wood has been aging for 100 years. You guys can make it, you can put down as much gray as you wish. But I'm not going to go to town on the back side. That's probably what I'm going to do there. I'm going to make sure that I get this edge just like that. See, not very pretty, just getting some dark down, just like that. You just want to make sure that the paint is fairly thin. We don't need it to be super opaque. So if you have a little bit of the wood shining through, you can kind of see right in here the wood grain is coming through, and that is perfectly fine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. Make sure you got all the edges. You don't need to do the bottoms because no one's going to see that, but just make sure that you have everywhere you want a little bit of distressing right on the edges, just like that. And we'll let that dry. We'll set that aside. And now is a really good time to go ahead and wash out your brush. Don't let this paint dry in the brush because it won't be usable. You'll have to soak the brush. So go ahead and wash your gray paint out right now. Oh, and also too, make sure you close these up real good because you don't want it to dry out. Okay, got my brush all cleaned up and ready to go. So you want to make sure that you get all the paint out of your brush. So you don't want any little gray paint down in there because it'll darken your white paint. So unless you like that look, then that's okie dokie too. So while we're waiting for our house to dry, we don't need to wait very long because it's chalk paint. So it'll dry pretty quick. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start with a flower. And we can start with the tallest one if you wish. Take your longest wire. And this one is for the folks that, it's about 14 inches. Let's go ahead and take your 14-inch wire. And what you're going to do is take your button, a button that you like to go with this flower. And you want this particular flower. So he's a little single guy or gal. And he's got the daisy pattern. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 petals. So and it's just one. So we'll start out with this little guy first. So what we're going to do is decide which button you want to go with that. So you can try all the different buttons if you wish. I'm going to put these two together. And there's no two buttons that are alike, so they're all very different. So I'm going to put these two together. And what you want to do is decide which side of the button you want facing out. So when you look at your little flower, which side do you want facing? So I'm going to choose the more detailed side of this button. So I'm going to choose this side instead of that side. So this has a little bit more interest. So just keep that in mind. Then you're going to take the longest stem. And I think, yep. And you're going to take your needle nose pliers. Remember these guys? Just very pointed needle nose pliers. Or if you have very strong fingertips, God bless you. So about an inch down from one end, you're going to want to put your needle nose pliers just about right at the tip, just like that. And you're going to just make a hook. You're just going to fold it. Oh, helps to do it on camera. Just like that. See my little hook? So what I did was, let me try that again. About an inch down from one of the ends, it doesn't matter which, you're going to fold it just like that. So you have a little bit of a hook. You guys see that? All right. Matter of fact, this might be just a little bit too big of a hook, but that's okay. It'll work. So you just want to kind of pinch it down just a little bit, not all the way. So you want it to be kind of a narrow hook, just like that. You guys see that? Okay. So now you're going to take your button and you're going to pick one hole in your button. Doesn't matter which. and you're going to slide the long end through. You guys see that? And you're going to slide it all the way up. And then you're going to slide the other side, the short side, through the opposite hole. So you can basically make a little crisscross. You guys see that? And then slide it all the way up to the end. Just like that. Can you guys see that? So I didn't go side to side, I went across, just like that. All right, now take your needle nose pliers, and you're going to want to squeeze up underneath. So you're going to want to squeeze right underneath the button. So you're basically closing that gap that was in between those two wires. So now the short side is running parallel with the long side. So they're touching. See that? They're right up against each other. Now you're going to take your flower. I'll set this down. And that's ready to go. Okay, now you're going to take your dowel rod and the flower that you want to use. You don't have to use this particular petal, but this is the one that goes with this particular. If you want to make it exactly how the kit was designed, then you'll want to choose the single pink that kind of looks like a little bit of a daisy, and you're going to round over your petals, and you can round them in or you can round them out. And what I'm doing is I'm just pinching the center of the flower, and then I'm taking my dowel rod and rolling the petals. And I'm not pulling very hard. I'm just almost like I'm curling it with a curling iron. I'm just giving a little bit of dimension to my flower. And you guys can use more or less depending on how you would like your flower to go. But this is all you need to do is just, I'm not pulling on the paper very hard. If you pull really hard, you can rip the paper. You don't want to do that. You're just bending so you have a little bit of dimension now. Instead of the flower being flat, it has a little bit of a curl to it. All right. So now what we're going to do is have that facing up, facing towards us, and we're going to slip the wire through, right through, all the way up until it butts up against the button, just like that. You guys see that? Very, very cute. Now we'll flip it over and we'll fold the short piece flat against the back of the flower. So we're going to fold it. See how I'm bending it? And I'm going to bend it a little bit more. I'm going to hold the button with my thumb, and I'm just going to push. See how I'm pushing? I'm just pushing this flat. Just like that. So that is going to hold the flower in place. So you got one cute little flower. So now, if you find that that short piece is just a little bit too long for what you want, you can take your wire cutters and just nip it shorter if you want. So I'm gonna, instead of having it all the way come out, I'm gonna cut it right in half. Now be careful, don't cut your flower petal. But I'm gonna go ahead and shorten that just a smidge. Okay, so there we go. We got a cute little flower, and if you want, I'm gonna go ahead and make mine a little bit of a curly Q. So you're gonna take your dowel rod again, and you're gonna just kind of place your dowel rod over your flower, over your stem, I mean, and just wrap. all the way around. Just keep wrapping all the way, just like that. And if you run out of dowel rod, just move it down, just like that. Just keep wrapping all the way down if you want. And then remove your dowel rod and make your stem go flat. And there you go, guys. So cute. And I'm going to extend him out a little bit because he's my tall flower. Isn't that cute, guys? You guys made a flower, and that's so stinking cute. So cute. So one down, and it's basically the same over and over again with your florals. So that technique is going to be on every single flower. So if you can master this one, you got it. So we'll put that down. Now our gray paint should mostly be dry. So let's take a look here. We'll bring our wood piece back. And if your gray paint is still wet, you don't want to move on to the next step just yet. If you wanted to hurry it along a little bit, you're more than welcome to use a hair dryer to use on a cool setting. Don't use the hot setting, use the cool setting with your hair dryer, and you can maybe even set it out into the sun, and you can let it dry that way. But this chalk paint dries pretty darn quick, so just run your hand along it, and as long as it doesn't come off on your hands, you'd be good to go for the next step. All right, the next step, we're going to go ahead and take our wax block. It's just a little wax. And what we're going to do is wherever we put that gray paint, we're going to use this bit of wax. So what we'll do is just run your wax block all along the wood on top of the gray paint. Or if you chose not to do the gray, your other paint. And you don't have to press real hard, but you just want it to leave a little bit of wax on top of that gray paint. Because what the wax does is it keeps the paint that we're going to put over this from sealing to the wood. So when we sand it back, that little bit comes up really easily. So you'll see. So go ahead and use your wax block everywhere you would like to see the distressing that you put the gray paint or the dark paint. You don't have to go crazy with it, or you can go crazy with it, but a little bit goes a long way. And I'm just going to put it all along the edges of where I want to see some distressing. So I put some along here and here. Don't forget the top. So if you put some paint up here, we can go ahead and put some there. And along this edge, even some on the end if you want. And if you cared to do the back, you can even put a little bit of wax on the back. Although not too many people are probably going to see the backs of mine, so I went sparingly on this. Just a little bit of wax, and you are good to go. All right. So now what we'll go ahead and do is, now you're going to want to take your white paint and do an entire coat over the entire piece. So over the wax, over the gray, over everything. Except if you want to keep your roof metal and your chimney metal, don't paint those. But feel free to paint everything else. Or if you want everything to go white, you can absolutely paint it all. So, but I'm not going to paint my roof, and I'm not going to paint my chimney. I'm just going to paint everything else. So what I'm going to do is open up my first white paint pot. Don't forget your little friend. And I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Take your paintbrush and cover everything. Now you don't want to glob it on. You want it to be a full coverage, but you don't want it to be super thick because you want this paint to dry pretty quick. So just be sort of sparing with the paint. Now you can do multiple coats, which is totally fine, and which is what I'm going to do too. So you're going to see that the first coat will not fully cover, and that's okay too, because we're going to distress it back. But you don't want to just, it's very important not to glob the paint on. You want it to be as smooth as a coat as you possibly can. You don't want to have any little ridges or drips or anything where it's super thick on the corners too. So when you're painting a surface, you want to make sure that you get the other surfaces too. So if you're painting on a corner, the paint will have a tendency to build up on the back side. So just make sure you run your paintbrush down. And then just paint away. And it's okay to get a little bit of paint up underneath your roof. No one can see that. But you just want to get everything covered in a lighter color, or the white if you're using the kit paint, which is the white. And again, you just want to make sure that you get everything coated and get it drying. But again, you don't want to glob it on too much, because you want the paint to dry fairly quickly. Just like that. And if you guys have a larger paintbrush, you're more than welcome to use that as well. But I find this little paintbrush really lets you get into all the little nooks and crannies. Just like that. Just make sure you get everything smooth. And like I said, the first coat won't be a full coverage, so just know that. You're going to see a little bit of the gray coming through, and that's okay. Plus it kind of gives it that weathered look as well, so you don't want it to be pristine. This is Farmhouse. This is a 100-year-old farmhouse, old barn wood that you found in grandpa or grandma's acreage down on the farm kind of thing. You just want to make sure you get everything coated, and don't forget your tops, because you will see that. And you want to make sure that you don't glob all the paint down in there. So you want to take a little toothpick or something and make sure that you don't let the paint dry. You just want to get all of everything painted. And if you do the back, go ahead and do the back, but don't forget your ends. Just like that. And if you want to do the back, go ahead. And if you do want to do the back, go ahead and open up another one of your little canisters so you can get a little bit more paint. And go ahead and take your needle nose and pry them open. It's a little easier maybe to set it down, just like that. And I'm just working on a little bit of wax paper. And then go ahead and paint the back side. Just get it all painted up. Again, it doesn't have to be super pretty, because we're going to put another coat and then we're going to distress it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I know there's some folks out there that this is probably hurting their eyes. But I promise it's going to come together. I promise. Trust in the process. So cute, you guys. So cute. Go ahead and coat everything up. And again, if you guys aren't using the white paint, that's okay too. Just do up a lighter coat. We're going to do the back side of the little house. Again, just, you don't want to glob it on. You want to be somewhat sparing. You want it to be lighter coats than heavy coats. You want it fairly even, but you don't want to glob it on. Just get everything covered so it can dry. And don't forget your other edge on this side. I'm going to go ahead and paint this side. Okay, and then now, once you have everything painted, back and front, this is my front and this is the back, and then make sure you get all your edges. We're going to let that dry for a little bit, and I wanted to make a special note that you want to take one of your little wire bits and put down in the hole if there is any of the holes covered in the paint. You just want to poke the hole open. You don't want paint drying the hole shut. And I'm not forcing it all the way down. I'm just breaking that seal. So you want to make sure all your little pinholes are open. Okay, so now we're going to set that aside again to let dry. And we're going to close up our little paint pots one more time. We're going to move my, make sure you guys wash your brush out again, okay? Just rinse it out real quick, because the next coat will be white again, but you don't want the bristles to dry stiff. So go ahead and rinse that out. And I'm going to move my paint out of the way, because my workstation's getting a little dirty, so I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to do the next tallest, which will be the very first flower. So what you want to do is take, and this one is about 13 inches. And again, you guys do this however you wish. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. You guys can make it different lengths and different colors if you want to. So you absolutely don't have to do it exactly as I'm doing it. So, but this one is the 13 inches, I believe. Yes, 13 inches. And again, you're going to want to take just about anywhere between a half to an inch, somewhere in there, 3/4. And you're going to take your needle nose pliers and you're just going to fold it over. So you have just a little bit of a hook, just like that. And I'm going to narrow it down just a smidge. Oops, too far. Okay, your next button that you wish, I'm going to use this one with these flowers. And the flowers that we're going to do are these ones here. It's these two. Okay, so what we're going to do is same thing. I'm going to put this one to the back and this one's going to be up front. So I'm going to fold these backwards and I'm going to fold these forwards. So what I'm going to do is take my dowel rod and I'm going to fold these back. See that, guys? So it's going to fold towards the white side. So I'm going to fold back. I'm going to fold back. I'm going to fold back. Fold back. And you guys can fold them however, if you want them really curly or just a little bit, or maybe none at all. Maybe you guys want them a little on the more flat side, and that's okay too. So see how this one is got a little bit of dimension to it now? And that is folding towards the white side. So they're curling towards the white side because this is going in the back. So now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to fold the color to itself. So instead of going towards the white side, I'm going to fold it the opposite way. So I'm going to flip it over and fold towards the color side, the pattern side, just like that. Can you guys see that? Just like that. Very, 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 very simple. And you guys don't even have to use a dowel rod if you don't want to. If you're really good at using your scissors, you can even open up your scissors and you can curl. If you guys are used to curling ribbon, you could even try to do it that way too. Just don't rip your paper. So I'm just using the dowel rod because it's very easy. And that way you don't run the risk of creasing it. You're just curling them just like that. And then you have a little bit of a curl. You guys see that? So then when you put them together, you have a little bit of dimension. So the back piece curls to the back and the front piece curls to the front. Okay? So now we're going to take our little shepherd's hook and figure out which side of the button you like better. I'm going to go with the more fancy detailed side on mine, and I'm going to go through one side of the button. I'm going to go through one side and I'm going to slip it all the way down, and then the opposite button or the opposite hole, I'm going to stick the short side through. So the opposite hole, I'm going to stick the short side through, just like that. So it makes a little bit of like a half of an X. You're going to flip it over and take your needle nose pliers and squeeze right at the base of your button. And you're going to basically pinch the short tail and the long tail together so that the two pieces of wire are next to each other, just like that. Then whichever piece you want showing at the front of the flower, which is this one I've chosen as the front of the flower. So we're going to slide that one on first and slip that all the way up through and put both tails through. So it goes all the way through. So both tails have come out the back side. And then go ahead and slip on the back flower, the back petals, and slip both of those through. And now, see, both tails are through the flower, just like that. And then you'll take your short tail and you're going to fold it flat against the button. Kind of hard to see, but see now the tail is flat against the petal, so it's going to keep that petal from falling off. Then you can flip it up and decide how you exactly want them to sit, just like that. And again, if you want to make these a little bit on the curly Q side, you want to take your dowel rod and place it wherever you want the curly Q's to be, and then wrap the tails around. And you can make this one a looser one if you want to, so we don't have to go as completely tight. Maybe a little bit looser, and then scoot it down and keep wrapping if you want, just like that. And I'm not going to wrap mine all the way. I'm going to leave a longer tail. I'm going to pull out my dowel rod. And then you want this to go flat, the stem flat, just like that. And then you can decide how tall you want it. And you can pull your wire to extend it a little bit if you want these to be a little bit softer, maybe a little bit different than the ones that we just did. And then you guys got another flower. Isn't that cute? So cute. All right, well, we'll put that to the side. Make sure the short tail is flat up against your petal, otherwise your petals will move around. So just go ahead and flatten that down. Just like that. So cute, guys. Oh my gosh, so darling, so cute. All right, so now we're gonna check on our house, and it looks like everything is mostly dry. It's a little on the cool side, but what we're gonna do is go ahead and put another coat of white paint all over. Everywhere that the other white paint went is where you want to put the second coat. So go ahead and do that now. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my second little paint pot. I'm gonna place it on the ground and just pop it open, just like that. I'm gonna take my brush and do a second coat all over. And again, you don't want to glob it on. You want it to be a fairly even coat. It doesn't have to be perfect, but even is better. That way it'll dry even. Just keep painting your white paint until you get a complete second coat, if you want to. You don't have to do the second coat, but it just adds a little bit of brightness to it. But if you guys like the super weathered look, then that is perfectly fine too. You just want to make sure that there's no globs or runs. That's the most important thing, because you want the paint to dry fairly quickly, which chalk paint does. It does. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my third and final paint pot. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of paint there. Super cute, guys. I can't wait till you guys see it all finished. So darling. Just really, really cute. And you can change it out with the seasons if you wanted to, really. If you want to put a wreath over the bloom and grow and then put like little bits of pine or something in there to hold little pine bits and stuff, wouldn't that be cute? Or even like what are those bottle brush trees? Wouldn't that be cute to kind of stick all along here and then put a little wreath over the front? That would be really cute too. So you guys can display this all year round if you want to. Really, really cute. Don't forget your edges. And again, make sure you don't fill up the little holes. You want to make sure you leave those free of paint. I mean, if you get a little down in there, that's okay. Just make sure you stick a little wire down in there to get it cleared, because you don't want it to fill up, because you want to be able to put your little flower in there. Super cute. Don't forget the edge of your house. So cute. Just make sure you get all the edges all the way around. If you catch any runs. And if you have any paint left over, go ahead and do a second coat on the back. It's really, really cute. Then I'm going to do a quick coat on the back here, just to kind of help even things out just a little bit. But you guys do not have to do that if you don't want to. Just like that. And again, it doesn't have to be a perfect coat. It just needs to be covered. All right, almost there. And then we'll let this dry. And if I go too fast, guys, feel free to press pause and rewind. That's the best part about videos. You can watch it at your pace. Just make sure you get it all even, everything coated up. Super cute. And then we'll let this dry. Make sure you get all the globs on all the edges. So cute. All right, guys. So make sure, do a once over, make sure you get everything covered with white paint that you want. Make sure you get all the blobs and the globs. All right. So we're gonna set that to dry. So I'm gonna set that to the side. I'm gonna put that on my little wax paper. Okay. All right, now make sure you rinse out your little brush. I'm gonna close up my paint. Make sure that, and you can feel free to rinse these out and use these again. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out your brush and we'll start making more flowers. Okay guys, make sure that your little brush is all clean of paint. We are done painting, but just in case you want to keep it and do another project with it, you don't, just want to make sure that you get all the paint out of the bristles, otherwise paint brushes don't last very long. So, all right, so let's start with another flower. We're gonna go ahead and do the last one we did was the very first flower that goes in the row if you wanted to go that direction. So we'll just start down the line. So make sure I don't have any paint. Nope, no paint. So now we're just gonna make some more flowers. So the next one we're gonna do is the second one in line, and it's these two shapes. So you'll notice that these are very similar in shape. Matter of fact, they are, except one is a little bit smaller than the other. And you'll also notice that the little holes in the middle are fairly tiny. So if you wanted to make it a little bit easier, you can take your little scissors and just snip a little slit in that hole just to open it up just a little bit. But I'm not going very far. Just to extend it just enough so the wire can go through. Same thing with this one. Just snipping it and snipping it. You don't, I'm just maybe a 1/16 of an inch. It's very, very short snip. Just open up that just a little bit more so both wires can fit through. Okay. And I've chosen this particular button to go with it, and it's got a little bit more detail on this side than it does on that side. So I'm going to go with this side, but you pick whichever button you want to choose and whichever side you would like to do. So you guys know about 1 inch down, you're going to take your needle nose pliers and just make a hook. Just like that. Pretty simple, very narrow, just enough to slip through the button. I'm going to pinch it down just a little bit and you want the right side of the button facing the side you want facing out, you want facing up. So when you're looking at your little flower, this is the side of the button I want to see. So go ahead and the fancy side facing up, you're going to go ahead and thread your wire down through one of your holes. You're going to slide it all the way up, and the opposite hole you're going to slip the small tail down through, just like that. And you're going to slide it all the way to the end, just like that. And if it's giving you a little bit of hassle, just take your needle nose and just push it up, just like that. And you want it to go all the way to the end, so you don't have a bunch of wire on this side. You want it flat as best as you can. Flip it over and pinch the back side right at the base of the button. So you're bringing both pieces together. So now both tails are running parallel. You see that? There's not a lot of space there. They're right next to each other. So then I'm going to decide which petal I want in front, which this one is a little bit smaller than this one. So I want the small one on the outside or on the front. This will be at the back. So what I'm going to do is fold my back piece with the tails going to the back. So I'm going to roll my petals to the white side because that's the back side. And I'm just putting the petal on the dowel rod, gently forcing the paper over the top and just basically rolling it. But you want to make sure you have a good grip on your flower so it doesn't rip. And it's just very gentle pressure. Just roll that dowel rod right through. And a couple of times is better than one really tough time. So go ahead and just do it a couple of times to really coax your petal to fold back. Just like that. Cute. And then this one is going to go to the front. So I'm going to flip mine so the white is facing this way, and I'm going to again roll the edges. It's just easier if you just flip it. So these now are going to fold to the front instead of the back, because now we're rolling away from, we're going to go right towards the pattern side. Just like that. And again, it's all very gentle movements. Now I'm not tugging on it very hard. So then you take your stem with your button and you're going to slide with the detail facing up. You're going to slide your stem right down. And this is going to take a little bit of coaxing to get through there. So just make sure that you just kind of wiggle it. And you're going to put that small petal right up against, just like that. See that? It's right up against the button. And then you're going to take your larger petal and follow suit. So you want the pattern facing up. You slip it right down. And again, you want to coax both of those tails through the center. Might be a little tricky, so just go ahead and just take your time and just find so it sits right through, just like that. And I alternated mine just a smidge, so the top petal is going between the two bottom petals. But you guys do however you want. And then just make sure that it's flat against your button. See how it's flat? And you'll take your small tail, and just fold flat. Ta-da! So cute. You guys see that? See how the small tail is folded flat? Once you got this little flower done up, And I'm going to go ahead and bend my stem the way I want. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of a curly Q in it. So I'm going to do kind of a bigger curly Q. So what I'm going to do is just kind of start down a little bit further down and just do a couple of passes right in the middle. Just like that. Just to add a little bit of difference. And then go ahead and fold it flat. Ta-da! Just like that. He's just a little guy. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead. You know what? I might add just a few more. I'm going to do a little bit more. So I'm going to take my dowel rod and do just a couple more curly Qs. Just like that. Very forgiving. Very, very easy. And fold flat. Just pull it straight, I should say. And there is another little flower, guys. So cute. Ta-da! All right, we'll move down the line. The next one is the 4th flower in line, and it is the 3-petal flower. So it's this shape, and this little guy. And we're going to do it on the, this stem is 8 inches. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 8-inch. And again, just go down about 1/2 inch and make a little hook, just a little shepherd's hook, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and fold these, get these ready. And this is at the back. This is the back of the flower. So I'm going to bend it towards the back, which would be this side. So I'm going to take my dowel rod and go ahead and turn it towards the back. Or turn it towards the plain side, the non-detailed side. And I'm just forcing it around my dowel rod. So you got a little bit of a curl to it. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and curl towards the patterned piece. So it's going to curl towards, when you're looking at it, it's going to curl towards you. So I'm going to flip it over and curl towards the detailed side. Just keep curling. And again, I'm not pushing very hard. I'm just kind of just curling it around. And if you have a pencil or a pen where you want a little bit more of a curl, feel free to go ahead and do that and finish out. So there's a little bit of a curl there. And then we'll see how this goes. So this one is the center, and I definitely want it to curl towards itself, but there's no right or wrong side on this. It's the same on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and just curl it. Maybe the brush isn't as good as I thought it would be. Just keep curling. Be careful with these brown paper ones. They have a tendency to want to rip a little bit easier than the rest of it. So just be very gentle. Just making a little bit of a curl. Just like that. Ta-da. All right, and this centerpiece definitely needs a little bit of a help for the opening. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a little bit of a snip. Just right in the middle. Just open up that center just a little bit. And I'm going to use this button, and I'm going to have the fancy side facing up, and I'm going to go ahead and put the fancy side is facing up, and I'm just going to choose one of these. And if you find that this doesn't want to go through, if it's a little bit too frayed, just take ever so slight just clean the edge up just a little bit. And then it'll fit through. You don't have to cut off a whole lot. Just slip it down in, all the way down. And I'm going to go the opposite hole and slip it right down it. So it looks like that. Ta-da! And go ahead and flip it around. And you're going to pinch the back side so that the two tails are together right at the base of the button. And then you want to build your flower. So this flower has 3 levels. This is the most centered, so we'll put that one on first. We'll slip it down in. And just be real gentle when it comes to slipping it over the 2 tails. Just be real gentle. And just wiggle it. Don't force it. Just be real gentle. And you want it flat up against your button. Just like that. Both tails are through. And then you're going to choose your next petal, which is this one, this shape. Or this is the petal I've chosen. You're going to go ahead and slide it down through. Be very careful. And you want to make it all the way flat so both tails are through. And then go ahead and the final back petal. And slip that through. And I'm going to alternate so you can see all the petals. Flip it around, take your tail, the short tail, and fold it over. You just want to fold it flat. Flat right up against the button. You guys see that? And you guys have another flower. Oh my goodness. So cute. Oh my gosh, you guys. So cute. All right. So now I'm going to make this one a curly Q too. So I'm just going to start maybe about right here and wrap. Just like that. You guys can make them as tight or as loose as you want. I just wouldn't make them all the same, but you can too. You can absolutely make them all the same size if you wanted to. But I think it's cute and adds a little bit more interest if you stagger them. All right, the next flower we're going to do is this one. And this is this shape and this shape. And this is the button I'm going to go with. And it looks like it's the same on both sides, so I guess it doesn't really matter on that. And this is a 13-inch piece of wire also. So what we'll do is start at the end and go down about 1 inch. Take our needle nose pliers and just fold it over. Just like that. So you just need a little bit of a hook. I'm going to narrow that down just a smidge. So it's a narrow little shepherd's hook. And this is the back of my flower, so I'm going to have it curling away or towards the plain side. So I'm just going to roll towards the back side. Just roll towards the back side. And again, you guys do it however you want. So it adds a little bit of dimension. And then this is the center, so I'm going to have it roll towards the pattern. So I'm going to flip it around and fold towards the pattern. And some fold a little bit, curl a little bit better than others. So if you have a piece of paper or a petal that doesn't want to curl, just keep working with it. very gentle. All right, so now, same thing, take your hook and the side that you want facing up, and this only has 2 holes, so that makes it easy. So all I have to do is slide it down one side, go all the way up to the top, slip the narrow or the short side through the other, flip it around, squeeze the back side so that the 2 tails are together, just like so. And then take the center petal and go, and this one I think I'm going to have to open up the hole just a smidge. So I'm going to cut just a couple of slits on this side and on this side. You don't have to go crazy, you don't need very much because this isn't very large. And then just slide it all the way down. Make sure both tails go through. Go all the way up to the button so it's flat. And then take your other, slip it down through. Make sure both tails go through. Just pinch those tails, make them go right on through. You want it to be flat, and I'm going to alternate mine, so this petal goes in between those 2 petals. Flip it around, hold it with my thumb, and fold this one down. So take the narrow, or I keep calling it narrow, the short side, you just want to fold flat. Just like that. And it'll hold your petal just tight, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and add some good curly cues on this one. So I'm going to start at the top and just wrap, 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 wrap all the way. Just like that. I'm going to fold it a little bit more. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my tail and make it go flat. And then I'm going to pull, stretch it out just a little bit. And there you go. You have another little cute little flower. Oh my goodness, you guys. So cute. All right, let's do one more. Let's do the little baby one. This is the most shortest flower. And he's also a single petal, which is this shape here. It's this shape. And it's only 1 petal. So I'm going to just curl it to the front. Be very careful, you don't want to rip. And this one's just going to be by himself, so it doesn't matter if it's particularly curly or not. I'm just going to add a little bit. So cute, guys. And again, we're going to take about 1 inch down from the top. Take your pliers, your needle nose pliers, and fold it around. Just like that. And that seems a little chunky on the ends. I'm going to have to cut that off just a smidge, because I don't think it'll fit through my button. So I just cleaned, what I did was I just cut a fresh edge right on the short side. And go ahead and choose which side you want facing up. And this is the cuter side to me. So I'm going to go ahead and slip it down. And then the opposite spot, I'm going to slip it right in there. Just like that. You're going to want to pinch it on the back side right at the base of the button. Just like that. And I need to go ahead and cut just a little bit of a slit in here. Just a little bit, nothing crazy, just a little bit to kind of help slip on through. Very gently put both tails through. Just take your time. Make sure both tails are going through. Just wiggle it. This one is giving me a little bit of a fight. So you want to be careful. You don't want to rip your paper. You just want to make sure that you're just very gentle with it. And then you have both tails through, and then fold down the narrow. And if it's a little bit easier, what you can do is take your needle nose pliers and get it started, and go hold it with your thumb and just go flat, and then you can move it with your finger. Just fold it flat, just like that. Super cute, guys. So cute. I'm going to curl just a little bit on this guy. So we're just maybe going to do one little curl, just like that. And then pull him straight, just like that. So cute. A couple more to go. And you guys, we're just basically repeating ourselves. And then this is a 10-inch flower, and it is these two shapes. These two shapes right here, just like that. And this is the centerpiece, and this is the back side. And then this is my button. So go ahead, about an inch down. I'm going to fold it over, just like that. Slip our button through. And if you find that it doesn't want to go all the way down, just kind of squeeze it with your needle nose. Pinch it on the back side, right at the base, so that both pieces are touching. And then this piece is my center piece, so I'm going to curl towards the center, just like this. I'm going to curl that just like that. And again, you guys curl it however you want. This is just a really simple way to add a little bit of dimension to it. And then this is the back side, so I'm going to curl it towards the white side, the plain side. So I'm going to curl it just to the back, just like that. And again, I'm just holding it right in the center, gentle, and just curling. Just for a little bit of extra. All right, and I'm going to slip this through, and I think what I need to do is, because this hole is pretty tiny, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a slit right there, just ever so tiny, 1/16 of an inch, just a hair. And I'm going to have it curling towards the flower, so I'm going to slip it with it curling up right through. Slip it right through, both tails going through. Just be very gentle. Just work both tails all the way through. See that both tails are through. And then this piece slips with the pattern facing up. Slip that through. And then I'm going to fold that tail flat. Just like that. So hold it tight. And you guys, how cute. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of curly Q action on this one. I might even go the opposite way. Fold it this way. So cute. So cute. Isn't that cute, guys? Awesome. Okay, one more. Oh my goodness, you guys. And this is your last piece, and it is also a, let's see, 9-inch piece. And it is these two shapes. And you can choose however which one you want front. I'm going to choose the pattern piece to go front, and this one will be my back piece. So go about 1 inch down, pinch, turn. So you make your little hook, just like that. Slide it down on your button. Wiggle it back and forth. Slide the smaller tail through the opposite one. Slide her down in there. I'm going to have to cut that a little bit. See how my end is raveled a little bit on this side? I'm going to go ahead and cut that end off so we have a cleaner end. Well, I'm trying to anyway. Then, see, now it's a flush cut, and it'll fit through that button hole a little bit better. All right, and pinch it down on the back side. Pinch it down. And then I'm going to go ahead and open these holes up just a little bit, a little snip. I'm going to open this one up. Just the tip, and I'm going to fold this to the back side. And at this point, go ahead and heat up your glue guns, or if you have a little bit of paste or a little bit of glue, go ahead and get that. And I want this one to be to the front. I want it to curl to the front. Just like that. Almost done, guys. So go ahead, and I'm going to put the pattern piece in the front. So I'm going to slide this down. Be very careful to get both tails through. You want it to go all the way to the top. And then go ahead and add your second piece. Slide it down in there. And then fold your small tail flat. Just get it started. Fold it flat. And then hold your little flower together. Oh my goodness, so cute. I'm going to do a soft curl on this one. So I'm just going to go fairly wide with my curly cues. But you guys do it however you want. Just like that. All right. Now, what we want to do is get our leaves. What you want to do is cut these leaves in half. You're going to split them. See where they are together? Right here. You're just going to basically cut right along this edge. See where I'm cutting this? Right there. So you have a little bit of a tail here, and you have a little bit of a tail here. Okay, so I'm going to take the last flower, and I'm going to put the big leaf, and see where there's a little bit of a line. You can fold that a little bit, so it gives it a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to go ahead, and at the very last bubble or curly cue, I'm going to glue this leaf right here. So what you want to do is just fold this over at the base. So you're folding it. There's a little bit of a tail. I'm going to fold it right about there. So you have a little bit of a tail on the back side. Can you guys see that? Just a little bit. So you're going to basically sandwich that leaf, and you want the flower facing you, and I'm just going to attach it right. So let's go in a little bit. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. We're going to go for a ride. Whee! I'm going to move this up just a smidge. Basically what I'm doing is gluing this leaf right to this. So I'm just going to wrap it and then glue it right on the back side. So I'm going to flip it around. This is where you want to be very careful. If you have a little bit of paste or a little bit of Elmer's glue or a rubber cement, you could absolutely use that. I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue and just put just a little bit on my tail. Just like that. And very gently fold it over. Careful, it's warm. Very, very warm. Just pinch it, hold it for a second or two. And you got your little flower. So cute. And we're going to go ahead and do the small one. And this is the very, very first flower. So this is the very first one in line, which is this shape here. And about halfway down, we're going to do just what we did before with the big one. So we're going to fold it just a little bit. Then we're going to fold our tail and then glue it. Okay, so you're basically just going to fold it over and take that little bit of a tail, put a little bit of glue on the back side, very carefully, and then just fold her down. Just, whoops, it's getting away from me. Just fold her flat, just like that. Just hold on to it, pinch it for a second. And then, ta-da, you got a little flower and a little leaf. So cute. Okay guys, we're getting there. Now, do a little bit of sanding. So what you want to do is make sure that your white paint is pretty much dry, and it should be. If it's coming off on your hands, you'll want to blow with a hair dryer or set it outside, let the breeze dry it up a little bit. But it feels pretty dry, so we'll go ahead and do a little bit of sanding. This is only if you want to. You absolutely don't have to distress this if you want. If you just want it to be just white all the way around, then that's okay too. But if you want, we can just distress it back just a little bit. So take your edges and just very gently just sand it. And if you want, you can put down like a little paper towel or something, because it might get a little bit messy. But you just basically, everywhere you remembered that you put that gray paint, you're just going to sand back. All along the edges. And see how the gray is starting to come through? That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. So we'll go all along the edges. And you can sand however much you want. If you want a lot of distressing, awesome. If you want just a little bit, that's okay too. See how that distresses back so nice? So cute. Don't forget the little peak. Oh, sorry, my table is squeaking. Just sand everywhere where you want the distressing. Do some in the middle. Do some on the sides. Don't forget your edges and the tops. Sand down the edges here. And you get a really nice definition. And that wax helps keep the paint from adhering, and it really comes up just like it would if it was a 100-year-old piece of wood. Isn't that cute? Just really fun. Just like that. Just keep sanding to do all what you want to do. You can do the back side if you want. Although not many people are going to see the back of this. So I'm just going to do just a little bit. So along the edges. Isn't that cute? So cute, guys. Just like that. I'm going to do a little bit more right in here. It's right there. Right in here. That's basically it. So take your paper towel and then just wipe this dust off, or take it outside, blow it off. And you got a cute little distressed house. You just want to make sure you get all the dust off, because you don't want to try to put the sticker on the dust. Just make sure you get all of the dust off. Isn't that cute, guys? So cute. All right, move this out of the way. Roll my mess up. Move that out of the way. Now, what we want to do is go ahead and... Alright guys, so now, once you get all of your dust off of your house, now, what you want to do is take your sticker. You just want to make sure that everything is squished down. So then you take your sticker, and what you want to do is remove the paper backing. So what you want to do is fold it over, and you're going to peel the paper backing off of your sticker. So what you're left with is the clear and the writing, the actual design. So it's easy to just lay it down on the tabletop and just fold it back on itself. So you don't want to just pull up, you want to roll it back on itself. Just like that, because you want the design to stick to the clear, the transfer tape. It's hard to see, but you want, see how the sticker is sticking to my clear? That's what you want. You want it to release off of the paper. You want it to leave the paper and go to the clear. So we'll just fold that. And if you notice that your design is coming up with the paper, just lay it back down, scratch it with your nail a little bit, and then try again. And you want it to be flat. So paper to paper, and just roll the paper off. Just like that. Take your time. You want to make sure you leave the design on the clear. And then, just push down if it looks like it's coming up. So you want to get rid of the paper. And then flip it over, and then center your piece, and then you can decide where you want the placement. Now I will say this, you get one shot at this, so you definitely want to make sure you are placing it where you want it to be the first time. So if you want it to just, you can hover just right above, but don't stick it to anything because it'll want to stick. So just decide if you want it at the top or at the bottom. Just kind of eyeball it and just set it down. And it might be a little bit easier if you stand up. And that way you can kind of see your design and where it is. And I think that is right about there. Just like that. And then when you've decided that that's where you want it to be, just press down. And just take your thumbnail, just go right over the top. Just kind of work it, push down with your finger. So you want to make sure that sticker sticks. Just like that. If you have an old ID or a credit card, or even like a plastic spatula, you can use that and just scratch right over the top, and that'll keep it from coming up. And then, very gently, same as before, you want to take your clear, your transfer tape, the clear sticker, and you're going to remove that. And you're going to remove it the same way. You're going to fold it over on itself and roll it back. You're not going to pull up. You want to roll it back. Roll it back on itself. See how I'm holding it and I'm just peeling it off like that. And just rolling it back. You guys see that? Just like that. Just make sure that the design isn't coming up. Just like that. Very gently. Ta-da! Now you have your design on there. Isn't that cute, guys? And then you can take your fingertips and just make sure everything is laying down. Just push down. And then the fun part, guys, you get to plant your flowers. You guys can decide which way you want them to be. So you can decide by laying them out one by one, or you can plant them and decide however you want. So see how mine are different sizes and shapes. Now they're not all the way sitting down in my board. That'll make a difference too. So just lining them up. And I think that looks pretty cute. Just like that. It's a little bit of interest. It kind of goes boop, 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 boop. Just like that. So my first flower and my last flower have the leaves. So go ahead and plant your flowers, guys. Oh my gosh. So, so cute. So this one can go first. And again, you guys, if you find that they don't want to slip down in there, just cut you a fresh end. And then it'll slip right down in there. Ta-da! You guys, how stinking cute. And then once you build your flowers, then you can decide how tall you want them to be. So go ahead and plant all your flowers. And then you can decide how tall each one should be. Get them all straight. I think I'm going to shorten some of these so it's a little bit tougher to see. You can bend them or however you want. And this is really totally up to you guys. I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing here. But I'm basically planting them and then seeing how tall each one is and if I want it to be that height or not. So then slip that one down in there. Guys, these are so cute. go, guys. Isn't that the cutest thing? So cute. Ta-da! Gotta hold my flower in there, but isn't that cute? And then you guys, if you wanted to make this one shorter or this one taller, then you can just keep cutting till you got it so the length that you want. But I think those turned out really, really cute, you guys. Oh my gosh. So cute. Ta-da! If you guys have any questions, please feel free to direct message me or send me a message through Etsy or through Facebook. It's Three Barns a Charm. I will try to be very responsive to the questions that you have. And I can't wait to see what you guys make. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see how everybody makes their own little flower garden. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did, because this was a blast. So again, thank you guys for joining me, and I look forward to see you guys in the next one. Bye. Bloom and grow. Come on, spring.